Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being here today. My name is Ray Carville. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for Veterans Inc. Welcome to Independence Hall, our long-term rehabilitation facility for veterans and adult family members suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and substance use disorder. Thank you so much for being here today, and welcome to the Executive Office of Veteran Services. We thank them for this event today, this important roadshow event to go around all of Massachusetts and tell us about the HERO Act, which they will tell you, and it is quite true, is the most consequential piece of veterans legislation that the state has seen maybe ever. As a veteran, I appreciate the hard work that they and Governor Healey have done, and I'm so thankful that they were able to put this bill through. I'd like to thank Secretary John Santiago and the OBS team for being here today. It's such a pleasure to welcome them. But first, I would like to introduce our very own home legislator, Representative Hannah Kane. Say a few words. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome here. I always love having events here at Vets Inc. I live about half a mile away, so this is a wonderful location. But I always love coming to Veterans Inc. to see what they're doing. You make a huge difference in the lives of so many people, so thank you, Ben and Ray, for the work that you do here. I'm also happy to be joined by several colleagues today. We have Senator Kennedy and Representative Donahue with us. Senator Moore could not be here today, but also extends his gratitude to the Secretary for the roadshow. And we also have three members of the Shrewsbury Select Board in the back, Beth Casabian, Carlos Garcia, and Michelle Conlon, so happy to have them here, as well as our Veteran Services officers, past and present, who are here. I see Adam Costello and Jeff. Thank you for being here. I'm thrilled that Shrewsbury was chosen at Veterans Inc. to host one of these roadshows, and that the Secretary is with us here today. I've had the honor of being a colleague of the Secretary's back when he was a mere House member for a couple sessions with me. He's a truly impressive man. He is not only Secretary, but he wears a number of other hats as well, including MD, still a practicing emergency room physician, as well as somebody who has a master's in public health. So you can see why he is perfect for this role. He's also served in our military and also was a Peace Corps member. And he also wears, I think, two other important hats, dad and husband. So I'm happy to have John here today to enlighten us on all that the HERO Act has to offer. I was proud to vote on it with my colleagues in the House and the Senate. It's an incredible piece of legislation, and I'm happy to see the administration so quickly putting it into action. So, welcome, John.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. Ray, Ben, thank you for allowing us to be here today. Thank you for your leadership and your partnership over the past almost 2 years since I've been in this position. This job of Secretary, this new job, because it's the first time we've ever had one, cannot be done without the help and support of so many people in the community. I mean, we can't do it alone. We don't want to do it alone. We want to do it in conjunction with you all. You guys have been partners from day one, so I appreciate that. And so, Rep. King and company, thank you so much to be here. It's good to be in your district. Rep. Donahue, Senator Kennedy, thank you for what you guys do. Let me just say, as a former legislator, the job on Beacon Hill can't get done by one branch or one team. This is the ultimate team game. It's folks like Senator Kennedy, Donahue, and Kane that really are on the front line, speaking with veterans, sharing their ideas, giving their feedback, and bringing those ideas to important legislative sessions to get this stuff done. So welcome here. Yeah. So as the rep said, we've been all over the Commonwealth really talking about not just the HERO Act, but veteran services kind of at large here. So what I'd like to do is I'm just going to give a brief background about the office and what we've been up to big picture-wise. And then I'll invite Secretary Corey Hogan to come and deliver a PowerPoint presentation discussing the highlights of the HERO Act. And I think some of you, I think I saw it was a one-pager or two-pager front and back, really highlights the 30-plus provisions in the bill. And obviously, if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to my office, get in touch with us. We strive to be the most externally facing customer service oriented office in state government. We want to be. That's our goal. That's our aim. We created this whole engagement office to do just that because we learned through personal experience, but also through just a little bit of research that in the veteran space, whether it's municipal, state, or federal benefit, the gap is oftentimes engagement, right? So that's why we place such an important emphasis on being out in the community, engaging with folks. In fact, we have this new engagement office where I can tell you it started a year ago. We received over 4,000 calls and 95% have been answered. So engage with us. We want to engage with you because we have so much to learn. So we appreciate all your support with that. So a little bit about the office. As I mentioned, this is the first time we've had a Secretary of Veteran Services. It's really been an honor to work with Governor Healey, Senator Governor Driscoll, two champions of veteran service. Governor Healey was born at a naval hospital. Lieutenant Governor Driscoll is the daughter of a longtime Navy sailor, and it's because of their vision, their commitment, that we in the Commonwealth today are investing more in veteran services than we ever have before. It's because of their leadership that we are engaging more veterans than we ever have before. So when they talked to me about this job, 2 years ago, I guess, I was had a good time at the house, loved that job there. I represented parts of Boston, working as a physician. I had my first kid. I'm on number 2 now. He's a month and a half, so I've been sleeping much. But I was deployed at the time in Syria, actually, and Governor Healey called me and she said, "John, think about this." And I was like, absolutely, probably not, because I'm enjoying my political career. I love the doctor stuff, and I felt long and hard about my job and my role as, as a veteran. I think, I called her back immediately. I said, "God, I'm all in." And because of their support and the work that we've been able to do together, we've been able to reinstill trust and partnership with the veteran community all across the Commonwealth. And that began with the homes. As you know, over 100 veterans died from COVID-19 tragically at Holyoke and at Chelsea. And I can tell you just some updates if you aren't aware. At Chelsea, we expedited the construction of a brand new home that is up and running. I was just there earlier today. Something that probably would have been built 2025, we got that done a year before. And as electronic medical records, it's licensed by the Department of Public Health. It's run by operators who are now licensed to run a nursing home. And I'm excited about what's happening there. This new development that's going to be building 200 plus veteran housing units at Chelsea and at Holyoke. First month in office, we secured $500 million to build a brand new home that's ahead of schedule. And just last month, we had a topping off. Again, also licensed by the Department of Public Health, also operated for the first time ever by someone who can run a nursing home. New electronic medical records, really improving the quality of care of veterans. And don't take my word for it, just look at the data. Whether that's a 40% decrease in falls, better quality care programs, we're excited about it. We're not saying mission accomplished. The work will never be done, but we're excited about what we've been doing. And a big part of that is because of you all here. It's because of your ideas, your engagement, and you holding us accountable. From the very beginning of this entire office, it's really been about focusing, hearing about your ideas, and that's what this is about. This is not about us. This is not about some idea we kind of cooked up in some back room. We did do a little bit of research. We looked at 49 other states, but all these ideas, the vast majority, came from people like yourself, people on the front lines, people who care about this issue, people who are veterans, and people who really were telling us what we need in the community. And it's not perfect. As the legislators know, our folks, our senator back there, right? This is one bite of the apple. There's more work to do. But working closely with this delegation here, which is an all-star delegation here, your senator, your rep, the reps here, this is a great step in the right direction, and we're excited to talk about the Hero Act today. And I just want to give a quick shout out to our VSOs. If you're a VSO, can you raise your hand? We got a couple of them here. Let's give one of them a call. We are in such a unique state here that we have people like our veteran service officers that represent cities and towns all across the Commonwealth that are really on the front lines engaging with the homeless veteran who needs benefits, whether they're VA or whether they're city or state. They are important people, so if you don't know them, get to know them. They're filled with a wealth of knowledge, right? They don't work for me or my office, they work for a city or a town, but they are the frontline providers. And as someone on the medical side, who's a frontline provider, I know how important that information is, right? And so they're like the ED docs out there doing the work, triaging, do the best they can, oftentimes with a small staff, right? Not a lot of resources, but they do an incredible job. So thank you for what you do. And obviously, if you're not connected to the Veteran Service Officer, please connect with them. So with that said, we will start a discussion on the HERO Act, which again, the ideas of folks all across the Commonwealth telling us what they need. It started off with a number of conversations and folks and some research, and we're going to kick off this presentation by inviting Corey Hogan. Where do you go, Corey?
Right.
Come on, Corey. So let's give Corey Hogan a round of applause. Corey Hogan is our Assistant Secretary of Engagement. He runs a variety of programs, including that constituent service outreach that, tracks every phone call, every issue. He's a former VSO himself. He's an Air Force veteran. Corey Hogan, tell people about the HERO Act.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you all. Honored to be here today and very excited to discuss the over 30 provisions. We're going to highlight some of the key highlights here for you today. In your hands, you have the fact sheet that'll run through a lot of the details, and then you've got the full bill to review at your leisure with the full details to answer all your questions there. But we're hoping to hit some of those highlights today, and then we're going to do some Q&A. So without further ado, we'll discuss what is the HERO Act. So the HERO Act, as you've heard, is the most comprehensive veterans legislation in Massachusetts history. It's over 30 initiatives that are organized into 4 different buckets: honoring and recognizing, benefit expansion, modernization, and inclusivity and representation. So to get into benefits expansion, one of the first notes that we will address here that I think a lot of our VSOs and veterans in the crowd here may be familiar with is the veterans annuity. And now to give a little historical background information, the veterans annuity is sometimes known as the Gold Star annuity, 100% service-connected disabled veteran annuity. It's also for the Gold Star parents of veterans. And I want to make note to point out that the annuity is eligible, or folks that are eligible to apply are both parents individually. So that's something, a common misnomer. A lot of the VSOs will know that information, so that's why it's important to connect with someone who can guide you through these process so that you don't just have one parent that gets the benefit when both are actually eligible. And now the big fact here is the HERO Act will support an increase to the annuity from $2,000 annually, paid biannually, $1,000 in February and $1,000 in August. And as you can see here, this is the implementation schedule, and it'll result in a $2,500 annual payment, increasing that by $500 annually for over 18,000 recipients across the Commonwealth. And again, the schedule goes as this February 2025, folks will receive an increase of $250 to their originally expected $1,000 payment. And then in August 25, it'll increase to that steady rate annually every August, $2,500. And again, just to drive home the impact of this increase in this provision, a change like this to this benefit has not been seen as long as I can remember, or any of my colleagues can probably recall. 17 years, okay, long before my time in this field. So it's heavily impactful to these families that have dedicated and sacrificed and lost so much, right? As I mentioned, Gold Star widows, Gold Star family members being the parents, and then 100% service-connected disabled veterans, or the Gold Star widows or service-connected widows of those veterans. Highly impactful increase here to kick us off. And additionally, the HERO Act also offers options to increase local property tax exemptions for veterans in multiple ways, either by doubling the pre-existing exemptions that exist or tying it to inflation. And now again, this is something historically, it is a local option, and we've received a lot of questions about the fact of that being, why does it have to be a local option? The answer to that is this thing called the home rule, where municipalities are given the right to make these decisions without seeking state oversight of how they implement their things and how they control. Some of them rely on this tax revenue, and the way that they want to implement it, they have these options now as presented here. Additionally, we're going to be studying a sliding scale option to where there's yet possibly another option, and this is currently in study. Regardless, this is a very impactful benefit to our folks on fixed incomes who rely on these benefits. So the HERO Act will increase tax credit for businesses that hire veterans from $2,000 to $2,500 per veteran. And that's very important, it's just yet another way for us to reach these veterans when our proper, usual channels may not reach them. So they'll be at their place of employment. Their employer will now be made aware that they receive a benefit from hiring the veterans, and this in turn benefits the veteran from being placed into the workforce where maybe before that opportunity was not explored.
I will add, the tax credit actually wasn't actually put in place. So although there was a meaningful attempt to make it happen, the $2,000 that was there previously, there were not regulations to accompany that, so it was actually never really put in place. And so now it is, and we actually increased.
Thank you, Secretary. So it's even more meaningful. Again, more under benefits expansion. The HERO Act also expands motor vehicle excise tax exemption to 100% service-connected veterans. Historically, this was tied to eligibility for a disabled veteran license plate, which is based off of medical, mobility medical criteria through the R&B. So this opens us up to a larger audience, a larger eligible population as well. And along with that, you may be thinking to yourself, the disabled veteran plate benefit with the excise tax also came along with the registration and license fee exemption. Now this is also open to 100% service-connected disabled veterans as well, regardless of mobility, regardless of the disabled veteran placard license plate. Also extends the active duty service buyback program window, which I know is particularly important for our state and local government employees. You have historically had the option to buy back up to 4 years state and local, but there was a 180-day window on that. And then again, all retirement boards did things, somewhat differently depending on how they operated. Now, this extension allows a one-time opportunity for any veteran who might have missed that 180-day window, which we have come to find, and I've been familiar with this, most of them, because making a decision like that 180 days into a new career about your retirement that may be 30, 40 years down the road is not always the best time to make that decision. And this grants that one-time missed opportunity, that one-time window for that missed opportunity. And then from then on, new employees will have up to 10 years to make that decision to buy back their 1 to 4 years maximum service to count toward their state or local retirement. Additionally, under benefits expansion, I know we've got a lot of VSOs, former VSOs in the room. Behavioral health care, this has always been a hot topic. My years as a VSO, a couple years back, we've always tried to find creative ways to support veterans. I think the common answer a lot of times is that veterans have access to VA health care for the most part. Some do not, though. And we want to be able to give our veterans the opportunity, whether or not they have that access, they are able to, if they are on Chapter 115 benefits, being the key there, they're able to choose now where they can go and receive reimbursement as long as they're on that Chapter 115 benefit that's administered through our VSOs in the local communities. And additionally, veterans will not lose their Chapter 115 benefits based off COLA increases annually. So historically, Chapter 115 is based off of income and asset limits. And, most of the time folks on fixed income won't see too many of these increases aside from that annual COLA increase. And this will prevent them from becoming overqualified in the income range due to COLA, a simple COLA increase that's out of their control and really only kind of somewhat catches up to what the actual cost of living is. Also ensuring that the Space Force veterans are eligible for the Welcome Home bonus. And we have some Space Force veterans. I'm an Air Force veteran myself, worked in the Air Force Space Command. I didn't get to serve in the Space Force, but a lot of folks are now becoming discharged from the Space Force, and they are now eligible for that Welcome Home bonus as well. And for those not familiar with the Welcome Home bonus, provides a certain amount of bonus cash in the form of a check. If you've served overseas or stateside for certain periods of time on active duty, provided you're a Massachusetts resident at time of discharge, and then return to Massachusetts. A great benefit. All service eras are encouraged to look in to see what may be there for that benefit. Even going back as far Korean War, World War II, take a look because it's possible that those benefits have not been awarded. Additionally, the requirement to have public schools provide support to military-connected students. Now, this is particularly important because I think a lot of times we do a great job of thanking our veterans, supporting our veterans. And, EOVS, we've been trying to be more conscious and continue to be more conscious of the family that the veteran has at home as well, because if the family's taken care of, we're helping the veteran at that point. So the support for military-connected students, being the children in the schools, to make sure they have the support they need, in turn, that undoubtedly helps the veteran as well. Moving into honoring and recognizing. The HERO Act has a provision now that requires the flags be flown at half-staff on National POW MIA Day. Also establishes December 20th as Space Force Day and May 22nd as Merchant Marine Day, further recognizing our various individuals who have fought and served during conflicts throughout history. And additionally allows Gold Star family member or the spouse of a veteran to serve as a graves officer, which is a position in a lot of municipalities. Sometimes within the Veteran Service Office, they work together regardless, and that position works closely with the cemeteries and works with veterans' graves operations and things of that nature. This now opens that from just being a strictly veteran position, similar to the VSO, to allow the Gold Star family member or the spouse to serve, which is going to be very impactful when you've got folks who they're going through cemetery or funeral operations to bury a loved one. They've now got an advocate who may have been in the similar shoes as them. Moving into modernization of veteran services. The HERO Act looks to modernize statutory language for standardization and inclusivity. And what this means and boils down to is essentially a lot of the regulations and laws were written, a long time ago when things were quite different than they are today. So, just kind of rewording and revising this language to fit today's current military picture, as well as the veteran demographics that we see most. Additionally, the HERO Act will codify EOVS's authority to the cemeteries in Agawam and Winchendon, and then codify the dental and medical benefits that are administered through Chapter 115. And I know a lot of VSOs may be thinking that we've been doing medical and dental benefits, reimbursements for some time now, but this actually codifies it and puts that into place, whereas, it was essentially potential to vary prior to this. And additionally, along that family support line, the HERO Act established a military spouse liaison in the Commonwealth. Additionally, creating a PTSD commission within the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, further examining some of the causes and conditions our veterans come home with, some of the support they need, and folks when they're at maybe they're the point that we need to reach them before they reach the lowest of their low. Additionally, under inclusivity and representation, the HERO Act looks to broaden the Chapter 115 definition of a veteran to align with the federal definition. Now, this does several things. I think first and foremost, most importantly, is it sort of just kind of removes a lot of blurred lines that we have as service providers when we are taking the whole picture of a veteran situation, right? We do not necessarily need to separate out what this veteran's qualified for. Things become much simpler. If they're eligible for VA, then they meet the same definition that we have here for Chapter 115. More inclusive to the veterans that most likely need the assistance because they don't qualify for other programs and services. Additionally, the HERO Act looks to expand the scope of the Veterans Equality Review Board and just more inclusive to population of various backgrounds. Maybe their discharge was affected or impacted by their military service due to military sexual trauma, sexual orientation, or the like. Also, the HERO Act requires a Veterans Benefits and Service Notice to go to all employers who have 50 or more employers. Again, finding these creative ways to reach veterans. The odds are, if you're an employer and you have 50 or more employees, odds are probably one of them is a veteran. And this would be another creative way to get the information in their hands and in their minds, and then hopefully they can connect with one of our veteran service officers or EOVS directly. And also, the HERO Act will establish another commission to study veterans' quality of life. So this will be a whole look, a diverse commission made up of folks from all different agencies and walks of life to study how veterans interact when they return from service and what supports they need in their communities. So feel free to scan this QR code. You'll likely be able to pull up a similar sheet that you have here in your hands. And you could also visit this web link as well. But again, that fact sheet that you have in your hands is a very valuable resource, and I recommend to follow off of that. So now this concludes the presentation portion of going over the provisions and the presentation, but we would encourage you all to, any discussion, questions, and we'd love to provide some answers to the best of our ability here today. And we'll research more if we need to get back to you as well. So with that, I will turn it back over, and we'll hope to hear from you all.
Let's give a round of applause to Corey. Thank you, Corey. So those were some of the big highlights of the HERO Act. Many of those provisions for some of the VSOs have been out there for working quite a while in the VSO space. I don't want to out you there. But that's some highlights. You have the one-pager. Please, questions, comments, concerns, hands raised. Yes.
I have a question on the 100% for RMV. I know as having a DV plate, I was waived sales tax on my vehicles. Is that going to be the same for a normal 100%?
We have an R&B specialist in the back right here. We did answer that. And then we have the Shrewsbury assessor. Where'd she go? Oh, there she is. So Eric, do you want to answer the question?
Yeah, so the question had to do with the sales tax exemption. The only thing that's changed with the sales tax exemption is that if you, prior to that, qualified for the disabled veteran license plate, but you also had a Purple Heart plate, you don't have to give up that disabled veteran plate any longer. We haven't changed anything with that. It hasn't expanded the access to that sales tax exemption. It's just so you don't have to give up your Purple Heart plate.
Which actually was quite a common issue that we were hearing quite a bit. This is Eric Mayberg. He's our legislative director. He played a significant role in making this whole thing happen. So thanks, Eric. And I'm sure we can answer some more questions. Thoughts, questions? Saw a hand over here. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I just want to, as a former veteran spouse, I just want to say thank you for including the spouses and having things for them. There definitely is an impact. And then having been on the Staff Sergeant Fox grant and now working on the HOPE grant, having seen the impact that PTSD has on our veterans, I also want to thank you for definitely including that as well.
Well, thank you for that. I want to highlight what you said. It really speaks to what Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll believe in. It's not just the veteran, it's the veteran and their family. When folks are deployed, and I was deployed, my wife's back home, my wife, all her family's abroad, she was here with a 6-month-old, right? It's challenging for her as well. And I'm sure many people in the room here who have been deployed or have family members that have been deployed understand that it's not just the veteran, right? It's the family as well. So thank you for bringing it up. On that second point, I want to highlight the importance of so part of the HERO Act, there's going to be a PTSD commission by EOHHS. But one thing in this job that I wasn't prepared to receive was the number of calls I would get about suicide. Family members, those who had passed previously, those who are undergoing some challenges now and who may have committed suicide. And as someone who works also as a physician in the emergency department and deals with life and death quite a bit, it caught me by surprise, to be quite honest with you. And I talked to the team about it quite a bit. Obviously, we know in this country, in this Commonwealth, there is a mental health crisis, right? And we could do more, right? But it's complicated by issues such as homelessness, substance use disorder. And so these calls kept on coming in, going to wakes, going to funerals, and I thought we could do more about this. Unfortunately, we were able to find a couple $1 million to create a grant to look into this and support organizations working in particularly the peer support space. And Betsy was one of the grantees of that. And something I think we need to do more of, right? One of the studies that our office was required to do, I wouldn't say 2 years ago, that never did until about a year ago, was a study to look into the issue of veteran suicide, and particularly for veterans who are more likely to have substance use disorder, more likely to have mental health illness, more likely to have access to firearms, right? And so the numbers are quite disturbing. And so after this study that we did with partners across the Commonwealth, we found $2 million, put it into a variety of programs, doing the work. And again, mission's unaccomplished by any means, but we're having some good response, good feedback, and something we care very much about. And I think being more open about these issues, the stigma, and our desire to support those and their families as well is something that we're committed to doing. So thank you for your comments. Yes, ma'am.
On that, I actually have a question in regards to the mental health crisis. Is the state doing anything to help? Because right now, for a clinician, a master's level clinician, they have to become from a K-12 accredited school to work for either the VA or a vet center. And there are all sorts of other clinicians out there at the master's level that are clinical mental health counselor that are qualified to work with veterans, but they can't within the national system. Is there a state that be doing anything to help that they help alleviate the mental health crisis?
Talking with respect to the VA criteria? Yeah. So 2 points. So you're absolutely right. There's a tremendous mental health crisis, and really want to thank our legislative colleagues in the room here who are aware of this. And I know Rep. Donahue, Senator Kennedy, Rep. Kane all feel very passionately about this. And I think my last legislative session, we passed a pretty significant mental health bill, right? More to be done. With respect to the VA, great question. Oftentimes people confuse me for the VA. Not the VA, it's a really separate entity. But I will say one thing about our relationship with the VA, right? So when I came in this position, I sought to really partner closely with the VA. The VA is a $400 billion organization, right? Tons of resources, tons of services. If I can get a veteran on VA benefits, VHA, VBA benefits, that's life-changing, right? I mean, as much as I love our benefits, love them, but that's life-changing, the VA benefits. And as someone who is also a VA patient as well, I believe very much in the VA healthcare system as well. So I can't really comment on what the VA does and what they do, but I will say this. Use us as an advocate for the VA, right? We've sought very hard over the past 2 years to partner closely with them. I'm talking about even at the secretary level. We've had the secretary of the VA come to Massachusetts twice in the past year. In all levels, homelessness, housing, mental health. I mean, we're working closely with them. I just sent the directors of the VA an email just yesterday on a different issue. And so if there are things that you believe could be done better, let us know. And you can always email me, my staff, Eric, Corey, other folks, and we'll shoot these ideas to the VA and advocate for you. Can't always guarantee the answer here, but I think if there's a good idea, I mean, already we've seen some significant progress, whether it's a housing project in Brockton that we've been working on, or some mental health issues that we're working with the VA. So send me an email. I'd love to learn more about it. But you're absolutely right. The mental health crisis is concerning, particularly in our veteran community, and we can do more, and we should do more.
Secretary, if I may as well.
Yes.
I just wanted to add in, we also have peer outreach specialists, outreach coordinators, and these folks have a variety of different eligibility criteria and licensures and things. We actually have Michelle Suhaki here from the SAVE team, our outreach coordinator. She's currently in a graduate program herself, but also currently serving to help veterans that are in mental health, substance use, or housing, any kind of life crisis, right? We're kind of navigators with that. So we rely heavily on a peer model as well to kind of get around some of the challenges. And, I think my experience and our experience as well has been that the peer outreach model, it serves a special purpose in the spectrum of care, right? So it's an individual that may look like you, have been in your same shoes, where folks may not necessarily want to talk to, no offense, sir, the doctor in the lab coat, or the judge in the robe, or the police officer in uniform. So that's an additional way that I think we've been, under the secretary, we've been very creative in working around the mental health crisis.
For the record, I don't wear a white coat. I wear blue scrubs and look at jeans. Actually sweats on top of my pants, and people make fun of me. But in all seriousness, Corey brings up a good point. When I came into this office, we saw us to change quite a few things how we operate. Not just with respect to the homes, not these new ideas, but also the idea of what the SAVE program could look like. I think when state program started a number of years ago, did some tremendous work. The focus was really on suicide prevention, but really at those almost end stage, right? And we felt that probably it would be more appropriate to work closely as a safe peer leader, maybe working more proactively with veterans who might be in crisis, but serving as a connector to services, as opposed to providing those services, some of which not necessarily were mental health clinicians, but we now are moving in a direction where we have folks who are licensed social workers, folks getting educated, so we're excited about the work that our SAVE team's doing, and our SERV team, who's really focused on working with folks, working with the criminal justice system.
I have
Questions?
another question, sir. On education benefits, the governor has put it so that you can be up to 25 and go to school for free.
Oh,
What
it's
about-
not 20, it's
Oh.
anyone now, right? Is that anyone?
I thought it was,
Over 20.
Oh, 25?
okay. But if a veteran's coming home, a lot of times they're older than that, or like I don't qualify for any more VA benefits for GI Bill because I was in a long time ago. So I don't have the forever GI Bill. So how is that going to help a veteran with educational benefits?
So let's double check, because I feel like the governor's budget had it at 25 and up. And I want to say when is our Senator Kennedy still here? Is it still 25 and up? Okay. Because I almost want to say it makes free, but we'll get to that. So there are a variety of benefits that not us that we offer, but the Secretary of Education offers, right? So the GI Bill is obviously an important one, right? But if you're a National Guard member, right, it's free.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
tuition fee waiver.
Tuition.
And there's a mass veteran tuition waiver, which is, any college students recently in the room know tuition is only about 30% of the actual bill, but there is a veterans tuition waiver for state schools at least,
And we have an update. Community college is free.
community college.
Yeah. Except the governor's budget had 25 and up, and then when it came back, the whole thing's free. Which is important, because you're right, some people can't afford this. And as someone who actually took 2 physics classes at Bunker Community College, we barely paid for the tuition. I barely did it, but it would have been easier if it was free. I do want to say, you bring up a good point. Our office wasn't very active in the education space, actually, at all. Nor were we very active in the employment space at all. But we've got more active in that space. We created a new office, working closely with, and again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. The Executive Office of Labor and Workforce Development, they work with mass hires, they veterans jobs, and DMOPs, and we're working closely with them to streamline programs and when it comes to education as well. I mean, we're working closely with the community colleges. We were just in Springfield Technical Community College yesterday to make sure that those colleges, particularly the community colleges, but the public colleges, are supporting veterans to the best of their ability. Questions, thoughts, concerns? Anyone else? The assessor, did you want to say anything? No? Okay. Rob Donahue?
Thank you, Fred.
That's it.
Just thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate everybody. Secretary, appreciate your kind words for the legislature. We're all in this together and hoping to do everything we can.
Senator Kennedy, is she still here?
She had to.
Well, I just want, Rep. Kennedy, do you have any final words? Gotcha. Well, I just want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to us. Again, we are barely 2 years into this whole experience here. March 1st, 2023 was when we came into office. We'll be hitting 2 years, March 1st, 2025. And again, it's been a learning experience, but it's been incredibly fulfilling. And it's because we have partners like you in the room today. We know we can't do more, we should do more. Please hold us accountable, work closely with us. Look forward to working with you. Thank you, Vets Inc., for welcoming us. So I did some events back there. Thank you, Vin, for your leadership. It's great to be here. And until next time.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Poirier, Honan, thank you.
VOBS are coming by, veterans safety, government today.
If you're not familiar with our programs, I encourage you to stop by our table in the back, find out a little bit more about our employment training programs, about our substance use programs, about suicide prevention, about our transitional housing programs. Sully Roberts in the back there, you'll see. So thank you so much for coming today. If you have any questions for our staff or any information that you'd like us to get to the secretary or EOVS, or if you'd just like to chat, we'll be around for a while. So thanks so much for coming. Enjoy the coffee and water. Appreciate your time.